It's finally here. We have some good news. Actually, scratch that. We have great news. The House has finally released their bill, their version of the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. There's a lot to it. So hopefully this will make Nancy Pelosi rethink voting on this bill at the end of next week. Hopefully she will get the House back together on Monday or Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday, and vote on it then. Maybe it will be Wednesday or Thursday, but hopefully she does not wait a week from today. Now, this bill is 591 pages long. I did not have a chance to go through every single page. I will do that, however, though. One of the things I promised you guys after the last $900 billion stimulus package is I wanted to do separate videos outlining the different pieces of legislation to make it easier on you guys. So that's exactly what I'm going to do in this one as well. I'm going to break it all down. I'll probably do that this weekend and continue into next week as well. So do yourself a favor. First off, hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribed. And then after this video, make sure you share it with your friends and family on Facebook as well, so they too can stay updated on everything that is coming. So, being that a lot of people have asked questions about the $1,400 stimulus checks, that seems to be what most people are looking forward to. That's obviously where we're going to start. Later on this weekend, I promise I will do more updates on all the different pieces of legislation. That way, you do not have to go through the almost 600-page bill and try to figure out what exactly it says, because honestly, it is boring to read. So, let's jump right in. First, this bill states that the amount will remain at $1,400. It's not going to be any higher, it will not be any lower. As for couples, $1,400 for one filer, $1,400 for their spouse, so $2,800. If you multiply $1,400 by the amount of dependents that you have, whether you have one dependent, you have 3, or you have 10, all you have to do to figure out how much money you are supposed to be paid is multiply the amount of dependents you have by $1,400 and then add in either $1,400 for an individual or $2,800 for a couple. That is what the IRS and the bill is currently stating. As for adult dependents, we were wondering if there would be a retroactive $600 for adult dependents. In this bill, it states nothing about retroactive payments for adult dependents. So, if you are an adult, you're an adult dependent, whether you are a college student or you're elderly, it doesn't matter. There is no $600 retroactive payment in here. Could it be added later on through the Senate? It could, but I highly doubt it's going to happen. Now, we still have to go through the phase outs of this bill, so I'm going to get to that in a second. First, I want to outline who is actually eligible for receiving this payment. The bill states that only those with a social security number are considered eligible recipients of this stimulus check, this $1,400 stimulus check. So, this bill does specify that if at least one spouse has a social security number and the other has an ITIN number, then both people, the filer and their spouse, would receive the stimulus payment. But at least one spouse has to have a social security number. As for dependents, all dependents must have a social security number in order to receive this payment. If one has an ITIN number for whatever reason, they cannot receive the $1,400 stimulus payment. And the big question that everybody has been asking, how does the phase outs work? Because here's what we know, and according to the text of this bill, it will be proportionate to the amount that you are being paid. Let me explain, because this can be somewhat difficult to really understand. An individual, your phase out begins at $75,000 and cuts out at $100,000. If you make $100,000 and $2, you will not get a stimulus check. If you make $99,000, you will get a stimulus check. And for couples, if you make $150,000, your phase out, or in between $150,000, that's when your phase out begins, up until $200,000. If you make over $200,000, you will not get a stimulus check. So, let's just do a quick little example so that you understand how this works. Let's say you are a couple, right? You're a couple, you'd receive $2,800, but then you have 2 children. That's an additional $2,800. That means you will now be paid $5,600 for your family of 4. let's say you make not $75,000, because if you made exactly $75,000, you would get $5,600. If you make $100,000 exactly, this is your adjusted gross income, you would get paid $0. But the reason it's proportionate, it means, okay, let's say you make right in the middle, 50% of that. That's $87,500. If you make $87,500, that's 50%, right in the middle. That means you would get exactly half of the total amount that you are owed. So instead of $5,600, you would only get $2,800. Let's say you have 10 children, right? Then you'd get $14,000. And then you'd have your and your spouse's checks as well. So you'd have, $14,000, you'd have $16,800 that you would get. But if you just made 50%, that $87,500, you would only get half. So you'd get $8,400, because that's exactly 50%. Hopefully that makes sense. I understand it's somewhat difficult. It's somewhat confusing. But that's why everybody's situation is going to be different. The phase out is going to be different based on the amount of dependents you have, whether you file as an individual or a couple, and then obviously your income plays a major role in this as well. Another one of the big questions that a lot of you guys have asked is, which tax year are they going to use? What we know is the bill states that the IRS is going to go off the 2019 federal income tax numbers, your AGI. That's your adjusted gross income. Unless, okay, and this is a big one, unless not that you filed your 2020 taxes, they have to be processed. If they are not processed by the IRS will continue to go off the 2019 numbers. So this is where things get more confusing and a little more complicated as well. Got to kind of play into the government system. Is if you made more money or less money in 2020 than you did in 2019, and you otherwise wouldn't have qualified for a stimulus check or as much of a stimulus check because they're going to go off 2019, then you might want to file for 2020 and do this early. However, if you made more in 2020 than you did in 2019, and maybe you otherwise would not qualify now, then you should probably hold off. Again, I'm not trying to give you financial advice or any tax advice, but you might want to consider holding off so you can continue to get this stimulus payment. One thing I can tell you is that if they send you a check to you specifically, then you can keep that money. You do not have to pay it back. However, if you are still owed money for whatever reason, you can go and claim that additional money. However, you can't do that until you file your 2021 taxes in the year 2022. So that's over a year away. So you want to make sure you get it right. Now, if you, and I strongly suggest you file, you go and file your taxes, early if you can, and if it's still your financial situation is going to change, that way you can get it done, not have to worry about it. And the best part is, if you received a paper check or a prepaid debit card, the IRS is stating that they want you to go and sign up for direct deposit. This will speed up your stimulus payments immensely. Also, the IRS is stating they will not be sending out new prepaid debit cards. The money will not be reloaded on the card you currently have. So if you've been holding on to it and you're saving it, or maybe you lost it, don't worry, they will send you a new prepaid card. The majority of people that do get a paper check will most likely just get a prepaid debit card. For those that do have direct deposit, you will get your money probably within the first week once this bill is actually passed. The other good thing, this new $1,400 stimulus check is that you will not have your money garnished, and for any reason. Whether you have a bank debt, credit cards, or a loan, or otherwise, you have some type of garnishment for IRS debt, unemployment insurance, or even things like child support. The bill states that you will not have any money garnished. So if you have any debts that you do see garnishments on your check or on the last stimulus checks, you will not have to worry about that in this round. And as far as when the payment is coming, this is when things get a little tricky. Right now, what we know is Chuck Schumer says the bill will be passed before March 14th, when the unemployment insurance benefits actually expire. Nancy Pelosi says the House will vote on this later on next week, and President Biden says we need to act with urgency. My guess, based off everything that we're reading, based off of the seeing the bill today, which is Friday, February 19th, we still have a little bit under a month to get this done. I think we could potentially see this before March 14th if we see Democrats, Senate Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, if we see them jump on board with this stimulus package. What I've been saying for about a week is we need to see this bill that Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, and every single lawmaker, every single congressman and women can view this, read it, take the time, take the next week, read this thing in its entirety so that they understand exactly what is going to happen. And later on this weekend, I'm going to go over this entire bill, and I'll tell you if I think where the bill and how it's currently written, if I think these two Senate Democrats will actually jump on board. Right now, I just don't know because I only went through the $1,400 stimulus check section. So that is what we know right now. But as always, I'm going to continue updating you on everything that we know as I learn more. Again, I'm going to read through this 591-page bill and give you all the details. So like I said earlier, consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. Also, share this video with your friends and family on Facebook so they too know exactly what to expect once this bill is finally passed. And yes, this bill will pass at some point. But as always, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.